Back with another brand video at the Defiwind 2025. And now we're going to talk about sales with Mr. Maciek Rutkowski. Obviously, Neilpryde.
How you doing?
Yes, very good, very good. Obviously, we just spoke to you and Nico about the JP boards. We're going to talk about sales. How long have you been on Neilpryde now? It feels like it's only your second year.
It's only my second year, yeah.
Feels like ages. I don't know why.
Because I'm trying to be active and put out stuff like every week. Nowadays, we're like, you know how artists, they used to put out records like every 5 years and now they put one every year?
Yeah.
We're kind of forced to do the same, like put an amazing clip every day. That's my job. Yeah. Yeah. But and then do the R&D and then do the events, obviously, and do clinics if you have time, and then
Yeah, it's a busy time being a windsurfing pro, I can tell you that. But it's got to be a dream, isn't it? JP Neilpryde growing up, it's kind of like one of the big teams, you know, if not, you know, like historically, you know, Bjorn Dunkerbeck, Antoine Albo, you know, the big guns have been on Neilpryde.
For me, it's more like it was more Josh Stone,
Jason
Polacau. That's the two VHSs which I had, the About Time and the Aloha Man.
Yeah.
And I was really, if there was any freestyler that could teach me, it took me like 5 years to learn to Vulcan. So I think, like, you know, I was just trying and going like 90 degrees and then, you know, whiplash. Nobody told me like you need to put the nose in the water, you know. The first board that I really dreamt of was the JP Freestyle Wave 78, the orange one, kind of like with this old style, with the barbed wires and stuff. Awesome stuff.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Era.
And I basically pretty much like my bedtime read was the catalog.
Yeah.
You know, the Neilpryde and the JP. So
Ricardo
for me,
Campello coming up, you know, that new school.
Yeah.
After that.
Don't meet your heroes. No. Hi, Ricky. No, I'm joking. He's a good friend of mine. I mean, he's a friend of mine. That's why I can say that. But it's awesome. It's this one for me. You know, some people maybe they grew up idolizing North Sails or Mistral, and Mistral was with North Sails, right?
Yeah.
Fanatic was with ART and all these things. For me, it was Neilpryde JP for sure. And JP back then was a wave freestyle thing, was not really a slalom thing. So it's a dream come true, and it's a bit of a tick, a bit of a validation.
Yeah. You've made it.
Yeah, so it's
world champion. I mean, you've definitely made it. Talk me through the sales. You've obviously.
This will be for people in the comments.
Yeah.
What's a bigger feat? World champion or being on Neilpryde JP?
Yeah, as an international rider.
Because for me, it's close.
Yeah, I mean, it is. They're tick boxes, aren't they? They're on your list.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like
has certain brands that they associate with or they dream of making to. You know, in Formula One, there'll be certain cars like Ferrari and Hamilton and this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. We're going to talk a bit about sales. Obviously, world champion foils coming in. You know, the last fair few years now, it's not just a new thing, but it's still, you know, the fin is there. But we have been talking a lot about speed recently. Now, with Albo leaving, with Vincent Valkner leaving, are they pushing you to get down the speed course? Are you pushing yourself? Are we going to see Maciek Rutkowski, the fastest man in Poland? In fact, who is the fastest man in Poland? A lot of questions there.
I don't know actually who's the fastest man. I mean, I know there's a GPS thing, but I don't know if anybody did official records.
Wow,
I might have just ordered a JP Speed 45.
Ooh,
might have.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people told me, and I had one guy in my clinic also that's into it, and I don't know. It's also Neilpryde. A lot of the records, like if Antoine wouldn't have a record, I think Vincent would have it.
Yeah.
If Vincent wouldn't have it, Hans would have it.
Yeah.
So it's all Neilpryde, and I don't know how much of it is true, but rumor has it even riders sponsored by other brands used the Neilpryde in the canal for their records. So it would be pretty dumb not to give it a crack if you have this gear like on you, basically like click and
Ready to
it
go.
arrives to the house, you know.
Yeah. Do you
So
do much GPS stuff? Are you on the Water Speed app?
I'm not on the Water Speed app
You
yet,
have to get him to download the Water Speed app.
but I might have just gotten a prototype of a GPS that has 20 hertz, which is 20 points per second.
Wow.
For my testing, you know, I'm
Yeah.
pretty much alone at home. I've been testing a lot with my friend Garmin and before with my friend Locosis, but my friend Locosis has passed away.
Okay. Like most.
Yeah, like most. And the one that I still have one. It doesn't have the strap, and it lasts. When it's cold, it lasts like maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
The battery. So I'm pretty stoked with the one. You're probably gonna be hearing about it. But I need to. But my issue is if I see a pink forecast, like but automatic.
Winguru, pink forecast.
Yeah, Winguru pink 3 stars. I just put my waveboard in the car, not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And to go speed sailing, you kind of have to skip wave sailing.
Yeah.
And skipping wave sailing, I told you how I grew up and stuff, is pretty tough. So, and you always think like, speed you can do in your 50s and this and that, but yeah, I gotta start sometime, and having Neilpryde JP gear is probably a good time to start.
I'm honestly really looking forward to seeing a few of you boys jumping in. We speak to Geordie, you know, he's talking, maybe, and then I can feel there's this sort of underlying bubbling going on with a few of you going, you know what, at least need to give it a little go, just to push that little, you know, scratch the itch and see how much is there.
Question is, what we did all this build up, and what if I'm dog slow?
Well, that's the exciting bit, you know, like we've had Albo going from, you know, essentially the fastest brands in the world, because that's what we've seen through records, just looking at the stats, and now he's gone to Savern, and there's a lot of question. We did the podcast about it, so I really like it. I think the build-up is great, and I think you, Geordie, a few of the others, Bruno, we're hearing might be doing a bit more speed now. I think it's going to be super exciting. We're going to talk about the sales. Obviously, we have touched on a lot of the sales with Robert when I was in Brazil, so we've gone through a lot of the sort of technical details, the cambers. If you haven't seen that video, I will link it at the end. But from a personal perspective, since you've been on Neilpryde, second year, just run us through some of the things that people might, you know, want to know.
Well, first of all, you just gotta be in awe of how these things look. And we can say it doesn't matter, but it does. You know, I've always back with Challenger, I had this pink thing which stood out, and which I don't know, I like to look at a picture and just it looks good, you know.
Yeah.
And this thing obviously does. The second thing I think that Neilpryde always had is just range. You know, you always have a little bit of extra backhand pressure.
Yeah.
To get through the lulls, to get through the stuff. But if you put enough downhole, you have a massive high end as well. So last year, you know, like some riders would switch a lot from their 5.6 to their 6.5, You know, if you have that trust, going on your, I was on my 6.5 probably 90% of the season, you know. You can put it on the medium board, you can put it on the small board, put a little bit less downhole, a little bit less outhole, whatever. And in Pozo, you know, full on downhole, a little bit more outhole, put it on the small board, and it just drives the board like really nicely. And yeah, so the range is pretty insane. And the cams, I think it goes, the cams, they were introduced in the Ultra Cam in 2007, I remember. And still some people don't realize like the ingenuity of the thing. And with your video with Robert will not say, hey, I'm a genius, this is amazing. But the thing is that this cam, because the button tension is really attached to it, as opposed to the button tension being attached to the sail body and the sail body to the camber, this cam, when you hit a gust, it doesn't go away from the mast. So you basically, the sail doesn't deform, and as you hit the gust, 100% of the power
drives forward,
you know. And it's just you know, that system, which is patented, others.
How long does that patent last?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. But that system is really, it's already gives an advantage, you know. And then obviously all the other stuff, the shaping, like here these these seams inside the sleeve are vertical shaping seams. So a normal sail would only have shaping on the buttons between the panels, while this one also has vertical shaping on those little panels inside the sleeve.
Much more complicated.
Yeah, it's way more complicated, and I have to be honest, I'm not as, let's say, knowledgeable on sails as on boards. But working with Robert, he's super open, and you ask a question and he just answers it straight. Probably because these things are obvious to him.
Yeah.
You know, but it's really cool. And the guy is a development or progress freak.
Yeah.
He kind of keeps challenging himself to invent new stuff. He's really has a lot of ingenuity, you know, and it's super cool.
Okay, so race sail, we're going to talk about, because I can see here, the Speedster. Now, the Speedster was quite interesting, because I remember we did a little chat with Neilpryde last year, and I think it was quite eye-opening for a lot of people. They had the V8 and they had the Speedster. And Nico's like, actually, the Speedster with the no cams is actually quicker than the V8.
I think he did like 37 knots on it, didn't he?
Yeah, but there's people going, hey, is that correct? And then you go around the other brands and they're all echoing the same thing. So have you spent much time on the no cam?
Not much time, but I've tried it. And I can tell you that, especially in sizes like 7.5 and smaller, it's so much fun because you jibe, you flip the sail, and it's instant.
Yeah.
You know, it's just instant acceleration, and everything is, you know, until you don't sail like super jacked up, powered up, you don't, or until you're in bigger sizes, like 7.5 and over, you don't necessarily need cams. The cams, they give you, the shaping gives you range, you know, but anything flat is always going to be faster.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to be a touch less stable. So, yeah, as you say, a lot of brands have this like no cam slalom sail, and I think it still goes underrated a little bit how much fun it is and how fast you can go on it.
I remember, because I always remember Supercross, and obviously Supercross was no cam, and that was kind of when it got like more, not credible, but a lot of people were using it then.
The Hellcat.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
The Hellcat was,
and you know, Albo was obviously winning the Super X at the time and stuff, and I think it opened people's eyes up because the racing still looked friggin' impressive, and you're like, I was kind of questioning, and I kind of do now. I'm using a no cam for a lot of slalom just because it's easy and it's a bit more relevant to a lot of people, and just to show people that you don't always need cams. Like, obviously there's different states of people, but I actually like blasting around.
If you go deep downwind, the shaping helps.
Yes, for sure.
If you're really jacked up, the cam sail will not sort of bend out of shape, you know. But if you're going crosswind up and down, you're
it's a bit cheaper as well.
It's a lot cheaper. It's like
it makes a big difference.
What, 40%.
It's a lot. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
no, it's a lot cheaper. You know, and you still get decent performance. Like the speed on those things, like you say, it is decent. And we're going to touch on one more thing because we did do obviously a long chat with JP before. We touched on a bit of the stuff. But we were talking about the wave sail before with the Fusion, and you were telling me about the monofilament or the scrim.
Yeah,
you know.
I was like, you asked me what we're going to talk about. I was like, you know what? I just recently found out that when sail designers talk like this material is 4 or 5 or 3 mil thick, it's not actually millimeters. Because I was always thinking like, 4 mil, this monofilm is not 4 millimeters thick. That's super thick, you know. And then like after 20 years of windsurfing, I realized mil is actually a separate thing. Like how do you say, like centimeters, millimeters, I don't know, kilograms, whatever, like a unit. A unit. A unit.
Good job you're here, the Polish speaker.
A unit of itself. So the Ultra Scream on top of the Profuse wave sails, so whether it's Zone, Atlas, or Combat, that thing is 0.017 of a millimeter. It's nothing. It's nothing. You touch it, and it's like the threads are thicker, way thicker than the material itself. The material itself super light, and I do, like, if you ask the Cabezo guys where they find me most of the times is on the rocks, on the bunker. so it's durable too, you know. I actually borrowed this. I didn't have like a 3.7 or a 4.0, and I borrowed it from TWS. Actually, it was on Windsurfing.TV. Like, I let go on a 360.
I think we saw that.
Yeah, the thing went straight to the rocks, and then I went back out, you know, all the way, the walk of shame, go back out, first wave, crash again, to the bunker again, did it like 5 times, and then you go out, and the sail is like, I was ready to buy the sail from TWS because I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
it's gonna be destroyed, you know, and then you look at it and it's fine. You know, so I think this also, like, sometimes you need to actually use a product because maybe Neilpryde from the past has like an unfair opinion of being super high performance but not very durable. This changed, like,
What
last
wave
year.
sail do you use out of interest?
I use Combat in the small sizes and Atlas 5.4 and 5.8.
Okay.
The funny thing is the Pro Fuse is a little bit softer than the regular or the HD.
Okay.
So for me, I like the regular Combat
Yeah.
and the Atlas Pro Fuse.
Okay.
So, you know, 5-button
yeah.
sail, more shaping. It's always going to be a bit stiffer in the hands. But, you know, the Ultra Scream, the Pro Fuse technology makes it a touch softer. It's like Coaster uses those 5-button sails but in this softer technology, right? So, but there might be a new model coming.
Oh.
You heard it here first.
Okay.
They're gonna kill me.
Okay. Okay. She's not looking.
Yeah, the marketing manager is right there. She might like come and just
When's it coming?
slap next year, I think.
Okay. On that note, always a pleasure, Mr. Maciek. He'll be on the podcast at some point, no doubt about it. But stay tuned to the channel. Let me know in the comments what sails you're using. Did you like that video? I hope so, but if you did, plenty more videos. Did you miss this one? You probably missed that one. Or did you miss this one? Yeah, I thought so. Well, you probably haven't subscribed if you missed it, so subscribe to the channel. And if you do like what we're doing, you can chip in some beers over here. Thanks for the support.